So let me see, speaker. Yeah. Hi. Wow, so nice. Like, this is wonderful to be able to kind of pass down the message. That's my excitement about this, and about the discoveries, the journey, the freedom, and therefore the name for this meeting being Radical Freedom, and what really worked and what really didn't. And I would like to, there's going to be an experiential also facilitation. So please stay tuned. I would like to also show you almost immediately through very, very simple facilitation, what is your system, your body, mind survival mechanism is still believing unconsciously about yourself. I mean, people who are familiar with the Killer Bee inquiries, I see there's just different people from different places. So there's people that are very familiar with this work. I do see them here. And there's people that are very, very new to this work at all, like, because I did share this in social media. I did share it in Instagram and on my Facebook. So there I do see, yeah, people joining from everywhere. So let me just, okay. And I'm going to engage you. Oh, there's some people coming in. Sorry. Let me see. Okay, great. Wonderful. Well, welcome everyone. So I'm going to start with just a brief introduction, as brief as it can be, and then I would love to share with you a graphic. Some of you may be seeing it already, the fear of being me, but I just want to point out what kind of a radical freedom I'm talking about, what it truly is, what am I pointing to, and what are the solutions for it. So I want to show you, how would I say, the engine to our suffering and the engine of separation, actual in actual very, very digestible and understandable form. So nice to see some of you. I haven't seen in a while. I see some really lovely faces here. Okay, awesome. So my name is Alina, and I've been a Killer Bee Inquiry Certified Facilitator for maybe almost 4 years. Well, maybe certified for maybe 3.5 years. But I've been training and teaching people these tools, this particular method, and this method is based in awareness-based, deep somatic processing. What does it really mean? It means that we bring the awareness piece, which is the always already awake isness. It's our aliveness. It's the always already seeing, hearing, feeling, even with our eyes closed, and even without our ears. On the inside, there is a direct experience that always happens. We not necessarily really see that. But when we start making it conscious, it becomes very obvious. So it's the awareness based. So we are processing within awareness, within the spaciousness that we are. And what we're processing is our traumatic memories stored somatically in our body. So we're aligning body and mind within awareness. And that tends to be a very effective method that I've been teaching for a while. Now, a little bit about me. My background is I really worked hard at trying to find enlightenment after many years of trying to numb myself or numb what I didn't even know existed within me, is my repression and my deep fear of being myself fully, authentically. And it was the numbing came through drugs and alcohol and trying to fix myself for many years, really doing everything I could, but not successfully, to really saturating my body to such a degree with recreative drugs that because I couldn't socialize, because I couldn't be myself, because I was so shy and so deeply afraid to just even speak up or connect with people. But disconnected life was almost impossible for me to bear as a human. Like for all of us, it's very, very heavy. So therefore I had to numb these repression and protection mechanisms so I could connect. Therefore I did a lot of MDMA, a lot of smoking, cannabis, a lot of alcohol, a lot of so many things up until 27 years old, from 16 up until 27. And at 27, my body just like gave up, just completely gave up. And I had to adopt a new strategy. The new strategy was enlightenment. And there was so much energy behind that desire that it actually brought fruits, which is fascinating. Within 3 years of intense meditation and deep practices, nonstop, traveling to India many times, there came a peace, internal, always abiding here presence. And it was seen that Alina as a story is not true, is not real, is just an illusion, is just a mind-made concept. But it didn't click really that it's not just a mind-made concept, it's also a somatic body memory and repressed emotions. So that doesn't come online ever when we wake up. And that's the missing piece of all non-duality that teachers don't talk about, or enlightenment gurus don't write in their books, that it's just a foot in the door to wake up to our true nature. There's so much to clear up. And that's where I found eventually KI and Killer Bee inquiries, and really going and diving deep. And that radical freedom I really want to talk to you about and invite you as well to explore for yourself, is that not until I really started to include the body through this work, and not until I came to almost what felt like a barrier, like I'd done it all. It's like I'm free already. But then I was still noticing my relationships. It was showing up as, no, I'm not. No, I'm not. Here you are still trying to please. Here you are afraid to speak up. Here you are, behaving in such different ways that to a really intimate connection. So I started to question more. And what I started to find is actually an interesting layer that I want to talk to you about, this deep fear of being ourselves in whatever way, whether it's our voice, whether it's our power, whether it's our expression, whether it's our emotions, whether it's our sexuality. There is an unconscious fear that sits deep inside our psyche. So this is a little bit briefly about myself and my passion towards this work, because being through so many things, like, okay, perhaps I haven't explored too much, like the world of therapy, because for me, therapy was drugs. That was my therapy. That was my kind of solution for that. But I definitely explored the bypassing of just thinking that somehow if I'll sit and meditate through all my still arising of separation, somehow I'll be so aware of that it's just going to disappear. But no, that doesn't really work until I learn the actual skill and the tools to dive deeper and to start bringing what I was not even conscious about that I had in my system, which is anger, wonderful anger repressor. So not until I started to unpack that, there's so many things that started to align in my life, whether it's relationship-wise, whether it's career-wise, whether it's abundance-wise, and so on. So I'm going to share with you a graphic right now so you can see what I'm talking about. And then I'll include all of you because I want to hear from all of you. And if you have any questions, please, you can type them in the chat as well, or that would be amazing. I would love to engage as many as I can. And if you have something that you can't wait to ask, of course, I'm going to open up as well. There's going to be a question period, but If you'd like to post it right now so you don't forget about it, please write it in the chat. So let me share this with you. Let's see. Oops. How am I doing this? Sorry, bear with me. There we go. Like this. So I'm not going to go too long with this. I had just a meeting around really going into details about this, but I just want to show you briefly because I don't want to take all the time with that. But this is what I mean by radical freedom. I mean, it's like really going the inside out approach. It's really going to the root, like with anything, like with our health. If we don't go to the root of the problem, and if we're just trying to kind of medicate it on top, it's going to give us a temporary relief at best, but it's not going to really address the issue. The same thing with emotional freedom, the same thing with our actual human freedom, our spiritual freedom. It's all sits within repression. So this deep unconscious fear of being me. So there is self-repression. Let's see, let me bring it a little bit closer so you can see it. Go away. There. So yeah, so as children, you know, we need to suppress ourselves in order to survive. So being authentically you was not okay in some way, was unacceptable, in some cases quite dangerous. So adapted identities, we can probably, and I'm going to guide you guys and you'll see adapted identities, you know, I'm too much, I'm not intelligent enough, I'm worthless, I'm not good enough, I'm not loved, or there's so many, they're all deficient in their core. And what happens underneath that, I thought it was all about that, about my story that I'm making about myself. So this was a little bit where I hang out for a while and I thought I'll be free by seeing all these identities. But the radical freedom really lies underneath that. And which is, I'm saying, going to the core, going to the frozen fear. So the actual deficiency story is all that deficiency, if something must be wrong with me, that kind of sense within you is feeding on the underlying repressed emotions, such as anger, shame, maybe deep sadness, fear. So self-repression is quite, you know, it's sad that it's been used by the wellness businesses as something to make money on, because not until it's uprooted, it's going to be always there, and there's going to be always these wonderful ways that you're going to be offered to fix yourself. And that's kind of the sad part, that I want to invite more people into this, because within good 2 years doing Kiloby inquiries, and I'm not saying it's an overnight thing, it's like you don't take just, you know, a pill and you wake up and all of a sudden it's just everything is gone. But it's really is the yeah, it's really by emptying the deep unconscious stuff that we're actually going to become free. And not just free, but we're going to uncover our voice. We don't need to take many classes to share and to be confident and powerful speakers. We just can be totally ourselves. But if you land that on a deficiency story, that would be, well, I'm not good enough. I'm not there yet. I need to have more courses, more classes, more, and that never arrives. It just never arrives. So emotional repression, you know, when we're as really young children, we really identify really strongly with emotion. And it's just, we're just such an aliveness in that moment. We're so present here and now that emotions are just a part of this being alive. So at some point where we had to start repressing them for safety, so these became our unsafe emotions. And these unsafe emotions is what is keeping you in separation as well. That's what's keeping you in this deficiency of some kind. You know how we say the ego is never enough. What is ego really? Ego is just an attempt to stay safe. It's the body-mind mechanism of survival. So this attempt to stay safe, not until all of that liberates these inner emotions that are unsafe and blocked from motion, blocked from moving through you, they're going to be just stagnant. And that's what's going to be creating the actual felt sense of unsafety and felt sense of separation. So this has to be liberated. Now, voice repression, that really comes, you see all of them, if you notice, perhaps underneath each one, that's what I found for me, even more so, everything just came into this beautiful alignment when I started to address my anger repression, which was my primary repression. I thought it was shame. I worked with a lot of shame, but what I didn't know, deep, deep, deep underneath, there was a lot of unaddressed anger that I didn't even know existed in my system. So, and I'm not saying for you is that, for you maybe something else. Maybe it's deep hurt or deep sadness, vulnerability, sad, it could be anything. Usually all of them kind of covered with a little bit of shame. So you kind of have to go through a layer of shame, and eventually you end up with a deep frozen fear underneath. If you can see here, frozen fear, that's the main thing that where we really need to get to. So our voice repression is quite fascinating. Kicking myself into expressing myself was quite a stressful event. And I was constantly, every time I had a group of people or trying to make a video, it was kind of re-traumatizing every time because I didn't address the actual underlying shame, again, leading to the same place over and over again. It's the inside out. It's the shame to be me, period. There was so much shame there and so much repressed anger, which is amazing power to our speech, an amazing power of confidence when we are uncovering our voice. So that obviously your voice, your uncovered anger actually leads you to power, and not a power that we imagine, not a power that walks over and not higher than someone else. The power of actually to stand up and say whatever you want to say without shrinking back. It's really, really powerful. It also is a creative force. It's a creative force. And as soon as I uncovered that, so much energy came here and so much energy was able to flood into new projects, such I'm going to talk about, like a project I'm creating with Darby. We're doing a actual in-person retreat teaching these tools. And other projects, I'm constantly reaching out to Scott Kilby, my mentor, and as well as the founder of these tools. And I'm like, wow, I have this idea. How about we do this? And I have this idea. And it's just that just pours. It's fascinating. So this power oppression comes again by addressing your repressed emotions, going into the core of that frozen fear that is looking still to be safe, that is looking, there's definitely utility behind there. In my case, you know, to be loved, to be accepted by my mom. So this is, all of us have that. I call them the primary villain, and I love my mom dearly, and it opened up so much more love by actually opening up my anger towards her in the past, right? So I'm not angry about my mom right now. She's my best friend. Yeah, sexual repression. So wow, it's fascinating when we go through layers and layers of shame around that, because we're all shamed out of our sexual curiosity as a child or as a teen, expressing sexuality in some ways. And this interesting picture here, trapped in time, this is exactly what I want to point to. This is the radical freedom, because when we really, really address and we really liberate that time-trapped energy, because you're carrying the past in you. So if you liberate that, the actual being here now is much more effortless. The actual being intimate with whoever you are, it's quite available, even to a point, if you don't like that person, you can easily go into boundaries, you can easily state your truth, you can easily, this can remove yourself from the relationship if you feel that's the right thing. You're not a people pleaser anymore. You don't have to do whatever you don't need to do for love and attention. It's so liberating. It's fascinating when we really come into our power, when we really come into our authentic expression and authentic living of me. And it's just coming back to actual awakening, embodied awakening. What is embodied awakening? It's actually being fully awake and fully human at the same time. It's the one source emanating as the unique you. And that was seared, like that was completely, well, let's say even sealed in your childhood, trapped in time. So there's still this young 4-year-old, 6-year-old in you, right there in your body, screaming to be released, screaming to be fully you, allowing life itself to manifest much more dynamically and freely through the vehicle of me. So I'm going to stop sharing and let's see. Yeah, I wanted to, I don't know if, do you know how to, there's in reactions, oh, let's see, someone's, in the reactions, there is raise hand. So I would like to, just to include all of you, I would love to, I'd love to go around and just kind of, I'll ask a question, and if you resonate with that or you observe that within you, can you raise your digital hand, please? So did any one of you, kind of going through even those repressions that I just showed you, if any one of you resonate with repressing self, like in whatever way, that self-repression, I cannot be me fully, can you raise your hand? And I'm going to include myself, what I had in me as well. So yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I see. Well, thank you being bold and really like just really raising your hand. Yeah, it's that's the first step. We need to start acknowledging. Yeah, I see, Fernando, you can't find your hand. Yeah, how many of you lost their voice? So you can stay with your hand up, or if you find like this is your thing, just this is not your thing, you remove your hand. Like you can't speak up, or you get like terrified, whether it's public speaking, group speaking, saying your name, whatever it is, socializing. Yeah, wow, fascinating. Yeah, so to all of you voice repressors, like it's been such my story. Like I'm even feeling goosebumps and just like, oh, whoa, like the memory of that. It's like we carry so much shame. Unfortunately, in some places we were shamed just to be ourselves, or to speak up, or to have, you know, perhaps compared crazily with others, or shamed to be not intelligent enough, not good enough, not educated enough, or just in other circumstances where we really had to really deeply repress ourselves. As well as that could be, that might mean maybe that your primary repression is anger as well, because that's what really fuels confident speech, like really standing tall for ourselves, no matter what we're saying, no matter what we're communicating, without, you know, what do you call it, being self-aware. Yeah, the self-awareness and the comparison comes with just the fact that we're repressing a big part of ourselves. Okay, so let's lower our hands for a moment for all of us. And yeah, okay, who feels like that sadness is inaccessible at all, like deep grief, hurt, sadness, you can take it into any kind of variations. What or is that but usually for some men, I'm not saying it's categorized, but a lot of men were not allowed to feel sad. Okay, okay. So that's a little bit more rare. Okay, yeah. Okay, good. Okay, more coming out. Cool. Awesome. Yeah, okay, I see. Gaia. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I see you. Yeah, Jamie, Lydia, Sherry, Philip. Yeah, thank you so much, guys. Yeah, I see. If I didn't name you, I see all of you. It's just I'm coming from like so many languages. That's another thing I had to relax about myself. My mom did so many immigrations, and I have like 6 or 7 languages in me, but none of them are complete, and I have difficult time sometimes to reading your names correctly. But it's okay. I respect myself. I love myself, even though, I might not be able to read your name. So sorry if I pronounce your name in a weird way. Okay, so let's get our hands down for a moment. And who feels that anger is either does not exist in their system, or it's so difficult to access it? Or you already know KI work and you're actually working on that also. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. It's such a villain kind of an emotion. It's like we really don't want that. Yeah. And for some of us, it became a protection mechanism as well. So a lot of us, I just have, usually sadness repressors are able to lash out in anger as a protection layer. I have quite a few friends that can't access sadness, but anger is super accessible to them, which for me is the other way around. Sadness overrides everything, and I can't be angry. Yeah. Yeah, disturbed by others' anger. Yeah, it's true. So yeah, that's another thing. So you probably might be an anger repressor if you're in company of, let's say, someone getting angry and you want to, like peacemakers, Enneagram number 9, we want to avoid conflict by all means. So this is something that plays out in our system. Okay, cool. Yeah. Like, so all of you anger repressors, sadness repressors, I just want to point to that. If you able to either find your curiosity about how to say, liberating that into your system, it doesn't look like, for the anger repressors, it doesn't look like rage going outwards everywhere. It looks like your power. It looks like your voice. It looks like your boundaries. It looks like you standing up for yourself, you standing up for others. It looks like ability to speak so that others can listen. It looks like the ability to express your truth. It doesn't look like that when we imagine like this violent, explosive idea of anger that we have. Okay. For sadness repressors, it doesn't look like you're just going to be weak and weeping all the time. It's just going to be the full spectrum of humanity is open for us to enjoy. Because now when I feel anger, it almost feels blissful at times. Honestly, it's just, wow, what a power. What a magnificent energy to tap into. Okay, cool. So lower your hand for a moment and yeah, I want to see how many people kind of can identify with that, because our society is quite interesting around sexuality. So any of you feel like your sexuality, whether your orientation or whether your expression of sexuality is somehow repressed? Can you lift your hand? I mean, it's okay if you don't want to, but it's we're all in the same boat. So yeah, I see Fernando waving, and Gael too. Yeah. Wow, amazing. Here we go. Yeah. And it's so lovely to unpack it. It's so magnificent because, and I was just working recently on that, really, really recently, just in the past year or so. And I'm still probably working on it, but there's a good chunk that unrepressed that looks like we're not looking for it, we're not attached to it. When it's there, it's beautiful, it's enjoyed. All the diversity of it, the darker side and the more, how I say, tantric and more kind of beautiful side to it. But the full spectrum becomes available to us without grasping onto anything, whether we have it or not. And there's just so much shame around this. It's quite fascinating that I had to go to really heal that. I had to go into darker kind of side of myself and make so much okayness with it and really, really bring it into the light and liberate it as it is without being ashamed of any kind of tendency as my sexuality was kind of revealing itself. And it's quite fascinating to find myself at my age where I would say, I just found my sexuality. And I'm quite, like, I have 3 kids and I might look young, but I'm 43. And it's like, wow, it's like wild. Too bad. You know, it was so deeply, deeply repressed and so disconnected that every time I was sexual, I needed some alcohol or drugs to numb myself. Yeah. So I can report for the first time, I'm actually enjoying it without any stimulants or numbness. Actually fully being there without any wall of protection. Yeah. So just another invitation to that. You can lower your hand now. So let's see. So I want to, oh, no, sorry, Nicole. I thought you just was raising your hand for something, but okay, so let me see. Yeah, so I want to go through a facilitation and then I'll open up to questions. So you can kind of, maybe some of you, of course, a lot of you that are familiar with this work, it's going to be really simple for you, but bear with me. So for anyone who's new to this, that might be quite revealing. Okay. So I would invite you to close your eyes. It's about, I don't know, 5-10 minutes guidance. So let's just sit however we're sitting. Okay. Let me just, and I invite you to close your eyes. And just pay attention for a moment on your body. How's your physical body feels like? Is it agitated? Just paying attention. Don't need to do anything about it, but just paying attention. Does it feel sleepy or tired? Does it feel super alive and present and excited? Just kind of monitoring your energy. Monitoring how it feels to be you right now. And just for a moment to really deeply connect with our bodies and what truly means a direct experience, we're going to pay attention to the sensations that tell us about any type of contact, either between clothes and your skin, or between the chair, the sofa, and the body. So on the bottom, and your back, your legs, if they're touching anything. Maybe your hands, if they're touching anything, just pay attention. Notice how how those sensations feel like. So when you get in touch with that, for a moment, just disregard the word contact or clothing or even sensations, and just feel the raw experience of that. What does that feel like? So you might start noticing, if you're really careful, you might start noticing that there is this space or this awareness, aware space in which sensations can be felt, or words can be heard or seen, and pictures flash in and out as our thoughts appear as words and pictures flashing in and out. Sensations coming and going, depends on where we put our attention. So this experience is called the direct experience, which is translated to shapes, colors, sound, energies, energies such as resistance, energies such as effort, energy could be as resistance as disconnection, dissociation. And effort could be trying to get somewhere, trying to be in a more relaxed state, or trying to follow the instructions in the right way to get some result. So all it is just to kind of notice, wow, there's all this world, inner world, that we don't pay attention to. So for now, this is just kind of a groundwork for you to land into the body, because this work is really much getting in touch with what's really going on in the body. So I want you now to bring an image up, with your eyes closed. Imagine there is a screen in front of you and just this blackness. And in your mind's eye, you can bring a picture of mom or dad, depending on who it is that you feel you get most of the suffering from. It could be also not necessarily mom and dad. It could be, just a family member that you had a really rough incident with. It could be a bully from school, maybe a teacher. So with that there, you're going to look into that image and you're going to you're going to state and feel into your body. That's very important right now. Feel into your body to a yes or a no answer to this. And you can state directly to them, I can say and do whatever I want.
I can say and do whatever I want.
And just notice your reaction in the body. Notice that no. And if you don't get it, try again, but really mean it this time. Really look at them. I really mean it. Say and do whatever I want.
Whatever I want, Mom.
Now feel in your body into this next statement. I can feel and express all my feelings directly to them. I just notice maybe a picture show up, maybe just your body twinges, maybe it's just kind of a vague no, maybe it's a yes, who knows? But again, I can feel and express all my feelings to them. So again, please just note what your body is saying. We actually, after this, we're going to be sharing, but for now, just remember if it's a yes or a no. And now just this one last time, this is orienting towards what is the deficiency that is playing up on top of my repression. If you got to know from one or the other statement, there is a repression happening. Now we're going to see, what did I have to believe about myself so that I can get by and feel that I belong, or to need for love, whatever it is. So you're going to, again, look at the picture, feel into your body, and you're going to say, what does that picture reflect back to me? What does mom or dad, whatever, whoever it is, what does mom reflect back to me about myself? What does that important person reflect to me about me? What did I start to believe about myself? And it's usually an I am statement. So if you didn't get to an I am statement, you can take whatever answer you had and you go with that answer. And what does that say about me? Until you get to some sort of an I am statement. Please remember that as well. I'm going to share that. So I'm just going to give you a little bit more time to see. Sometimes it takes a little bit longer to go and look at the image again and ask the same question over again and ask, what else does that mean about me? What else it might mean about me? And sometimes you'll get to a truer kind of belief or concept about yourself. And doesn't mean that it's true, it just means that you've been believing that for quite a long while. So I'll just give you an example. When I look at my mom, for me, what comes is I'm unseen, or I'm not loved by her, or I am never, ever enough for her. So take your own statement, take your own deficiency story you just found. And what you're going to do is you're going to ask yourself, what do I get out of believing that statement? So in my case, what do I get out of believing I am unseen? So in your case, what do I get out of believing, put the deficiency story there? And wait, feel into your body, see what it answers. What does that give me? So what does this deficiency give me? Being small, being unloved, being unseen, being not good enough, being worthless. What does that give me? And here you might need to ask again, if that gives you just this one next step, what it gives you. Maybe it gives you the need to stay safe. Then you can go, and what safety gives me? What does that give me? Or what staying small gives me? And you kind of just look and unravel. What does it really give me? Hiding, staying small. And it's okay if you get lost. It's okay. Don't put any pressure on yourself. It just might be a little bit more difficult for you to do in the group because I'm not really privately doing it with you, following on what's happening to you. So just embrace the frustration if it's there. Let that be your teaching. Just be with it. And if you did get to utility, look, what you're going to do right now is going to bring them two together. So I get to believe, I'm going to state my case, I get to believe I'm unseen. And then you string the utility for love and attention. So you do the same thing with you. So you state, I get to believe your deficiency story. And then you put the utility you found for or to get, blah, blah, blah. And you just watch it. And while you watch it, even just the deficiency story, you can just ask your whole system to show you more. So you can just ask it, show me more. What else is connected to this? So, and if you have that in front of you, or no matter how, if it just already relaxed, let it relax. Otherwise, if it didn't, if there's still some pictures there, if there's still some words there, so just let them slowly relax and slowly come back to your body and notice, how's your body feeling looking at all that, feeling into all that. So just know for yourself, if you get to a no with the few previous statements, and if you find the deficiency story that it was sitting on top of that, this is your road to freedom, really. So we're slowly going to come back. I'm going to lead you back into here now. So coming back to the body, noticing the breath. Let's take one deep breath into wherever it's needed the most right now. Maybe something got triggered. Maybe something got agitated. Maybe something got frustrated because you just didn't get it and you kind of just missed whatever I was saying. So just let's bring a deep breath into that area for now. So breathe in and sigh out. Maybe another one. Nobody hears you, so you're just alone in your own space. You can freely do that. Breathe in, pull in completely, and sigh out. And slowly, slowly, you can kind of come back to this place. You can open your eyes. I don't know, some of you, I don't see you, but I would love to open up and engage you a little bit more into what did you find for yourself? I would love to see some of your hands, like digital hands first. Did you find a no to the first statement? I can say and do whatever I want, or I can feel and express all my feelings. Because anyone raise a digital hand? Yes, Fernando. And oh, Gael, you found your hand. Awesome. Okay. Well, yeah. It might have not been easy, like, because we're like a big group here, and I'm not immediately really working with you. So, yeah, but usually it's a clear no, especially if we're intuitive and know how to listen to our body. And the thing is, like, for a lot of us, this connection had been happening in the body. And then this is like KI is a beautiful invitation to reconnect and start really listening to what's really going on, because that's also a big part of suffering, is like really the protection layers and protection mechanisms are keeping us in mind. That's where we're mind obsessed kind of reality of today. And as soon as we start going into the body, that's where the freedom lies. And it's just in the connection and reconnection to the mind, body and mind together. Yeah. So anyone was able to find a deficiency story? Can you raise your hand? Where's my hand? I surely found one of those. Yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah. Yeah, I see. Gael, it's okay. I see. Yeah. And Fernando too. Yeah. Yeah. Wonderful. So, yeah, all that is just to say, yeah, we are in the same boat. It's all the same. We are working on a collective, I used to call it insanity, but it's just like a collective need to grow up out of constantly perpetuating the intergenerational trauma that being passed down from generation to generation, just because we have the ability of the language. That's why we started to create inner realities. And because of the unwelcomed immature parenting, with unwelcoming us exactly as we are. Our parents somehow wanted us to make to what they are, unconsciously or unconsciously. Mostly it's all unconscious stuff that's been passed down to us. So this is the invitation to start waking up, because this is, and honestly, this is my only hope for humanity. It's for us to become fully human, non-repressed human, because non-repressed human is actually divine. It's not separate from the isness, the suchness of life itself. It's abundant in its nature. It's unlimited in its nature. It's just creative in its nature. It's powerful. This is our power. And this is our deepest, deepest vulnerability as well. And that's the beauty, really. Okay, I want to open up to questions. So anyone with questions or sharing, really, I want to engage some of you. And I hope you're willing to go with me a little bit over than an hour, because it would be nice to hear some of you, as well as there's a few things I want to share about how you can continue inquiring into this, or making that, your curiosity and your path to freedom. Because as I'm saying, there's so many years that I wasted. If I just knew that I can do that, that would have been a lot of years saved. And I would have been quite abundant and quite in my skin long time ago. So anyway, anyone has any questions? Can you lower your hand, whoever still have their hand? Yeah, Paul.
I know I've probably heard this answer from you or Scott at some point, but I wonder if you could kind of do a quick review on. So once you get the deficiency story, which for me is a real state of stuckness and victimhood, what do you do with that? How can you move through that as efficiently as possible?
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, well, first I want to acknowledge, Paul, you are in the training, and the training is kind of moving into the more effective way of addressing these things, meaning including repression. It was not there previously. And I want to acknowledge that just hanging around in the story that was there previously. And I do see, Olivier, hi. I do see my previous trainees here. And the fact that I so acknowledge, that it was not enough just the story, hanging out and finding the deficiency story. It was not enough. It was what the invitation is today. Well, it's kind of like I shared with actually Cesar, other trainee in our members chat today. It's like, okay, I get to the deficiency story. Now there's some tools that will allow you to bring the somatic experience, somatic memory around that story up online. So you have to feel it in your body. We have to include the body. That's the most important part. So when I get the body up online, then I need to find that one memory in my childhood, right? That is connected to this deficiency story. Where did I have to start believing that? What was that element? Who was that? It was my mom? Was it my sister? Whoever was there playing that. And then with that, I would go immediately almost into my emotions, especially repressed ones. So, I mean, working with the facilitator, especially a green checkmark facilitator, can really, really lead you deeply into that. But it would be, do I feel sad about this? Whatever the situation, right? You bring the image, there's the deficiency story, I'm unloved, let's say. And then you go with that. So I'm not sad about this, or I'm not angry about this, or I'm not afraid to not be loved, or, I'm not ashamed of being not loved. And you go and you find, I mean, immediately you might need to work layer by layer, and might not be immediately your primary repression. So it might be layers. You might go into a lot of sadness that you didn't unpack for so long, and that would be what was going to be coming out. Maybe in the next session, you might tap into a layer of shame around this, and you're going to unpack that. And then later on, maybe you'll start getting access to anger about it. Like, whoa, there was no one here to love me. I'm unwanted, I'm unloved, I feel like abandoned, whatever. So, and then you go into usually the primary, that's where the glue is. And under the primary is usually that graphic I was sharing, that frozen fear sitting there. Frozen fear of not belonging, of being, being disconnected from, fearing for our safety. Because if I feel this emotion that I'm so afraid of, then I'm gonna undermine my existence. It's going to be a danger, threat to my existence. So therefore, I'll continue to repress that. So what we bring is like that path of inside out, is like the deficiency story becomes my portal to the repressed emotion. And then when working with that repressed emotion liberates not only the deficiency story, but the whole mechanism, the whole structure, because the deficiency story is connected to the utility, it looking for a payoff, it looking for that love and care, and in the most weirdest way, sabotaging our day-to-day life, sabotaging our relationships, and so on. So by kind of uprooting this whole structure, by going and diving eventually into frozen fear, but you might need to go through some layers for sure first to get there to the bottom of things. But that's basically the process. And the process is also, I would say, again, I already stated that just in my recent video, and it's just in being the spaciousness in which everything is arising. So awareness always there with everything we're looking and with everything we're processing. And it's in the feeling, which the processing itself. So feeling the fear, feeling the anger, feeling. And it's almost like a combination. It's not just the fear that I'm only shaking. It's releasing actually energy. If in a very kind of efficient session with a good facilitator, you will feel not just the fear or the shame, but you will feel an energy release, usually in the body, with good repression session. So it just becomes this unrepressed energy available to us. But so it's in the seeing, it's in the feeling, and it's in moving into life and living, right? Meaning, like, if you are repressing your voice, exposure therapy together with processing, which is KI, and together with some awareness-based practices, which KI is as well, it's like slowly we can start moving into life and start testing the ground where else we're still divided, where else we're still repressing yourself, where else, you know, I'm still believing I'm not good enough or not perfect enough or not intelligent enough, whatever, what have you. All right. Okay. Awesome. Thank you, Paul.
Yeah, good answer. Thank you.
Thanks. Anyone else? Anything else?
Sure.
Yeah, can I just say something about double bind?
Yeah.
If I was angry with my mum, this is the age of 5, she would beat herself up, which shocked me so much that I said to myself, I shall control myself rigidly.
Yeah.
On the other hand, if an older boy, a year older than me, this is at the same age, smacked my brother and I wasn't there. My brother came running in and crying and said, then I was pushed out to go and fight this boy who I was afraid of because he's a bit bigger, you know, and all the rest of it. I was supposed to avenge my brother, and because I didn't, I was too scared to. I was shamed by my father. So therefore, if I'm not angry, I'm going to be shamed, and if I'm angry, I'm going to be shocked because it was very traumatic watching her beat herself up.
Yeah.
And so, in other words, you don't know where you are, you know. So you just crawl back down into your little hole, you know, and try and keep out of the way, I think.
Yeah.
And you hate yourself, because it's if you hate yourself, at least you've got some control. There's an I inside me who's not afraid, you know, of all that, and he despises the one who is.
Yeah. Yeah, I hear
So
you.
it just seems like a fucking mess, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, I hear you. And it's like, for me, the discovery was with this whole work, it was just like, it's kind of bringing us back a little bit to what's life is kind of waking up to. It's the fact that there's this one isness that not until it allows fully to be all of itself, whether it's the hate or the shame or the repressed or unrepressed anger, not until we're fully become as spacious to allow all that, as you're saying, fucking mess, really, within ourselves. It's only then, it's in the resistance that these stories perpetuate and continue. It's in the really, 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 really quiet resistance that the how would I say, the division continues to happen. And it's in the inclusion and inclusion even of the resistance. So it's like layers upon layers, including the resistance, including the hate, including the, you know, the anger and the shame, all of it. I'm spacious enough to, and I'm also awake enough to know it's all of me, all of it. Because if we're just this one thought we think ourselves to be, or one concept, that is too much for one thought or one concept of me. But if I am this vast space in which everything is welcomed, then it's a very different kind of a deal, because none of it is at the same time of ours to carry, and yet all of it exists. None of it becomes our burden because it comes and goes. None of it we grasp onto anymore, or none of it we identify with. So shame is fully allowed in its full force. Anger is fully allowed in its full capacity, right? Fear, existential fear. I'm going to shake inside as much as I want, but the shaking is happening within the vastness of me. So nothing can happen to me. So there is the element of transcendence here too in this work. Because if not, otherwise I feel like any other non-inclusive work of awareness itself or of isness itself, of life itself, is not as effective. Yeah, because it's in the unity, but not the unity of just a mental unity, but the actual experiential unity, that things start moving. Yeah. Or at least opening up. Yeah. Anyone else? Thank you so much, Deb. Yes, Jenny.
Yeah, I've spent quite a few years. I used to suppress, well, I was like this kind of like a victim martyr. So I was always trying to be above the anger, because when I was young, I wasn't allowed to be hurt, because then I get punished. And then if I got angry, I got punished for being angry too. So I've learned over the years to be more in touch when I'm hurt. And also I understand when you're saying that anger is actually power of communication. I took a ton of classes on learning how to communicate that anger. So I can feel anger and I can stay very present, aware, and I can communicate what wants to be said. And it doesn't come off as attacking like it used to when I was victim. And I didn't want to be sad all the time, because I lived a lot of my life being a victim because I wasn't allowed to be angry. So I've worked through quite a bit of that. But when I start to try to tap in deeper, I fall asleep. And even just now when we were doing it in your meditation, I'm fighting, my head's bobbing and I'm fighting. And so there's something that I'm not accessing. I'll even lay, and meditate and feel the vibrations when I do the mining or the different words to trigger. And I can I can welcome them. I was welcoming them the other day. I'm like, wow, this is really awesome. Just really enjoying the sensations, the vibrations in the body. But it has shown up as chronic pain in my shoulders and neck. But the thing is, when I try to tap in on something, I fall asleep. I get so tired and I have to really fight that. So I don't really know how to access what's underneath that.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing. I can relate to quite a lot of what you said. And yeah, I know it's just a protection layer that comes in as sleepiness. Have you ever tried, like, I don't know if you know mind-body mirroring as a tool? It sounds like you're coming from KI community, right? So it sounds like you're familiar with the tools.
Well, I'm coming from KI community, but I've only been in it about maybe a week or two.
Okay.
Because a lot of these tools, that's why I love the KI community, because a lot of these tools I've been doing for a few years, just from scattered all over the place. And now it seems to be in this one nice area plus additional tools. So yeah, I'm relatively new.
Yeah. So I would suggest, I don't know if you'd like, I can explain it more if you reach out to me, maybe even book a clarity call and I can teach it to you. It's fairly simple, but it's the simplicity of really making it the acknowledgement of the resistance, the sleepiness. You kind of make it conscious. So different kind of resistance, we can work with that by start finding what it is, what it's the command of that resistance, and we just start repeating it basically. So if the command of the resistance, dissociate, I'm just going to go with dissociate, make it even more so than what it is. And or like sleep, disconnect, and you're just going to go, you bring in more energy, and yet you're acknowledging what's happening. So you're not dismissing, you're not falling into it, and yet you're not pushing it away. And it's in this acknowledging that what starts happening, it's usually starts moving out of the way. You might get a little bit more energy, or something else will show up. Oh, this is how I did it here, or this is how, it always plays out. So it's check it out. If you're in the members area, just type mind body mirroring, you'll probably find that tool. And I would suggest try this, because it's quite a very active way of engaging with resistance, which could be a shutting down.
Can I get that in level 1?
Yeah, it should be introduced in level 1. And otherwise there could be a reverse inquiry, I don't get anything from falling asleep. So you kind of find find that, what is it that I'm getting from falling asleep? So you kind of, in a sense, it can bring you into a little bit more curiosity as opposed to falling asleep. So, but usually mind body mirror, and it could be as simple as that, but there's some nuances to it that I would love to, more connect one-on-one with you for this particular tool. But mostly it's just finding the correct wording of the energy that is here and start repeating that into the energy, whatever it is. If it's sleepiness all over the body, just kind of send in, okay, numb out, if that's the words, or if it's, I don't know, disconnect out loud or internally. And what starts happening is just actually we are acknowledging here what is already happening unconsciously. So a lot of people are really afraid of this tool. It was like, what are we trying to reinforce it? Not at all. It's already in our body. It's already happening. It's just happening unconsciously. So we become super conscious of it. And in this becoming super conscious of it, yeah, I think Paul had shared something. Thank you, Paul.
Oh, great. I'm gonna
Yeah.
save that one. Yeah, it used to be food.
Oh, and also Nicole, there's beautiful. Thank you, guys. There's some resources there.
Great. And how do I get like a call with you?
You can go on killaby.com and book a session with facilitators, and you find me. And there's a clarity call. It's a free 30-minute call that you can hop on, and we can chat.
Yeah, because I've come so far. It used to be food, and now the food I've processed pretty well, but now it's this. And I'll be sitting there going, okay, you're trying to disconnect, you're trying to disconnect, and I'll be fighting this,
Yeah.
nodding my head, falling. Yeah. I would like to go deeper on that. Thank you.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you so much for bringing that up. And resistance, like expect this work, expect resistance, and whoever is already introduced to this work, whoever tried it, and bouncing out into safety, that's a part of this. This is just our systems are designed to protect us, and all of a sudden we are challenging them with the complete counterintuitive kind of way of liberation, and it's not something that that our system's designed to do. They're designed to protect. Yeah, they don't want to go into fear. They don't want to go into intense emotions. So, but there are tricks. So that's the beauty of learning these tools. Any other questions? Cool. Let me know. So let me know if you have questions. I really want to touch base before we end. This is just an introduction. Like, really honestly, in the beginning, you actually might need a facilitator or learning the new way we're teaching the tools, including repression. And that's my excitement about actually creating a retreat this summer. Me and Darby, another trainer, we are basically two leading trainers in repression. And we are organizing KI retreat this summer in upstate New York, not far from Albany, like an hour away in the mountain called Hunter Mountain. It's in the woods. It's really lovely, big space, a beautiful cabin. And so the intention is to pack everything into a very digestible form and leave people with not just an immersive experience, of course, connecting with others and ourselves and nature, that's all lovely, but it's really to bring home a practice that is all dimensions included tools, and the most essential tools, and the way to weave them skillfully so that you can start working on these very persistent unconscious mechanisms within yourself that prevent you to fully step into your authentic expression. Whether it's finding a relationship that works, whether it's a work that you've been dreaming of and you can, or whether it's like starting, you know, your own sharing of whatever message you have for the world, because we all are gifted with so much, and we all have a lot to share. So whatever is keeping you away from that, so this is the intention, to give you a package that you can start really moving the energy. And so that's happening at the end of July. Yeah, let's see some questions here. So yeah, yeah, it's 4 days and 3 nights. It happens in near Hunter Mountain, New York. It's an hour drive. We're organizing a shuttle from Albany Airport. It's the 28th of July up until the 31st of July. So it's very close, and we have spaces filled out already, but we do have 5 spaces available. No longer early bird prices, but if you attended this retreat and I'll see your name and you reach out to me, or actually I'm going to follow up with an email to all of you, and I'm going to give you an attendance discount to attend the retreat. You can apply that when you play. It's a coupon code that you can apply for a discount of $100. So really hope to see some of you, because we really want to make it happen. We really want to bring it also to just away from the computers. How many participants? We are 1 cook, holistic cook that can attend any of your intolerances. She's amazing. And it's me and Darby, and it's 12 participants. So we are missing some, and I really want to fill it out, because if yeah, it would be quite sad not to make it into person to person meeting, because I've just been for 4 years behind a computer, and I really want to bring it to actual energetic connection with people. Yeah, because it's very different groups, and it's not just that. So you can think that as also a kind of non-dual retreat, because we're going to have meditations, there's yoga, there's breathing techniques every day. There's going to be sitting with me in the morning and in the evening, guided in the morning, evening, just quiet sitting. There's fire, there's just sharing by the fire and so on. Cacao ceremonies. There's going to be a lot of fun stuff. So I wanted to leave you with that, as well as if any one of you is interested to really go into depth into any of these tools, I'm going to send a link to book a clarity call with me, and we can up online and just let me know what are you looking for, what is the particular something that you really want to work on, and then we can find a solution, whether it's working together or training together. There's so many options right now. And as I'm saying, if I didn't go through this training myself like 4 years ago, I don't know, I think I'll be just like a mom hiding behind being a mom. I'm a mom of 3 kids, and you know, that was my safety landing place. But there's so much more to me now, and it's just so beautiful that I didn't just fall into it, that I just really said yes to a difficult work, yeah, on myself, but yet just so much beauty and abundance. I got rid of a lot of scarcity from my system, a lot of deficiency from my system, uncovering and unpacking that anger and shame so that it could heal my sexuality, therefore my relationship could heal, you know, like just bring more, yeah, more confidence into my voice and into my sharing. Like this was something I've never was able to do before. So let me know if you have any other questions or anything that you'd like to know about the retreat or about the training, or anything about these tools and how you can get engaged with this work a little bit more. Thank you. Oh, it's the shining heart. Where'd you get that one? That's cute. Olivier, you're dying to say something. No. It's nice to see you. It's been a while. Okay, Miles, let's see. Oh, no, hold on. Oh, sorry, Miles. Thank you for the reminder. Okay, so the difference between the sadness cause. Um, Miles, you're here? Can you just, if you don't want to come on camera, it's okay, but can you unmute yourself? And I would understand your question a little bit more if you, yeah, thanks, Katie. If you can express more from your experience, would that be okay, Miles?
Hey, can you hear me now?
Yeah, it's perfect.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, I guess what I was asking was, sometimes you get caught up in sadness, maybe when you're feeling depressed or you have like an identity around this and you sort of wallow in it. But then I find it hard to differentiate this from, I think I have some more deeper repressed sadness. So I was asking if there's any way to kind of tell the difference between the two, or whether you're just getting caught up in that loop pattern, like I'm depressed, I'm a victim.
Yeah, I hear you. So, it's interesting because it's almost like there's some nuances to the repressed emotion. And you will have to check with your primary caregivers because sometimes the sadness is, as you're saying, that is really attached to the victim story. And you're just kind of, it's just a ruminating, it's just what is, perhaps, I don't know if it's a pattern or if it was familiar to you, like going into that, feeling sorry for oneself or whatever it is. That might be not necessarily the repressed sadness. That might be just kind of just the mechanism of keeping you safe in the misery, unfortunately. And then if you feel that there's some deeper repressed sadness, it might look very, very different. It might be like a nuance with a particular parent. It might be a nuance to a particular situation, and it might be nuance to a particular sadness. It's not, might be a very deep hurt. And or maybe it's some sort of a grief, depends, right? It depends if you lost someone very young. So it's like, for me, like at this point, like if I would be facilitating you, I would really want to go into more hearing about how do you feel you're repressing sadness? What does it look like? Did you have any events that kind of point to that? Or you don't have access to it at all? Sometimes, it might mean something else. It might be, you might be repressing some sort of a vulnerable kind of emotions, not just sadness. It might be a variety of things. So it's hard to say immediately, but like, yeah, by working on it, it starts kind of like a layered onion. You start kind of peeling, and then you really start seeing which one of the emotions is more like a primary as opposed to secondary emotions that we repress. Yeah, thanks, Miles. But yeah, I think like, I don't know if you ever had sessions, Miles, but if that would be like something to work with and just really to look within that sadness that is, you're saying, kind of more apparent, like something that you really, that is really here and keeps you in the victim reality or depression and so on, and just explore like, what is it that this sadness is pulling me actually really truly away from? Because it seems like whatever is immediately available to us is usually our protection layers. Usually there's something deeply hiding underneath that. Maybe there's deeper layers of sadness, or maybe there's other emotions hiding there. Something that we're really not willing to feel. Yeah, something less obvious. Cool. Anyone else? Anything else? Yes, Matthias.
Yes, I wanted to ask like how important it is to like find the first memory of something. Or is it like do we look for memories to like trigger the energy, and it's not that important if it was the first time or the fourth time, because I'm not sure if we can really like know for sure if it was the first time or not, because
Yeah.
those things can be like
Mhm.
blurred and old.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's like the memory when you dig through that, the memory that arises and it feels like, whoa, intuitively, it feels like I haven't been there. It feels triggering. It feels alive. Like it feels like relative to what I'm looking at. Just go there. It doesn't have to be the first one. And sometimes we'll work on that one particular memory that is very, very triggering and reappearing in our system over and over again. And then when we clear that up, maybe another memory, maybe younger, will be available to us. Or maybe another memory older, but quite repressed because it was very difficult situation to digest. So layer by layer, it's going to be more available to us. And I'm working with a particular person that we've been working for quite a while, maybe a year or two, maybe. And it's fascinating how deeper in some memories that she haven't seen in so long, all of a sudden become available to us to work with every next week, you know. So it's quite of kind of as I'm saying, kind of like appealing thing. And for me, for 2 years, this one really deep repression, as I'm saying, where I lost my voice, it was so in my system. Anywhere I looked and anything I was inquiring into was boom, immediately zooming into that, immediately going into that all the time, until I started to work with anger repression, which is not connected with, that was all about shame. And I've worked with anger repression, and all of a sudden, I'm not going there anymore. There's other memories that started to show up for me to clear up, but not that one. So, which is kind of fascinating. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Matthias. Mm. Yeah, so yeah, I guess just to wrap up, get curious about that radical freedom. And radical freedom starts on the inside out, starting from almost diving into the curiosity of what is it, where did we freeze? Where the hell did we freeze? And what did I freeze about that? Where? In what areas? Was it my anger? Was it my voice? Was it around feeling so shameful as I am, as the existence of me? In my case, it was so shameful to be myself that I had to repress myself. Then when shame got out of the way, you know, there's other layers that I needed to clear up. But it's this, in the radical freedom, life relaxes. All of a sudden, even after years of non-dual abiding awakening for quite a while, 13 years, probably, well, before that, you know, I wouldn't say the last 4 years been quite interesting and very, very relaxing, finding this work. But before that, there was still this kind of an inner bug of uncomfortable being in my skin, and what am I to do with life, and who am I to be, and what kind of a teacher I am, because somehow the idea that I need to be a teacher because everyone else waking up to non-duality becomes a teacher. So there's this comparison that I have to be that. And none of it is relevant. It was just this repressed me that was trying to be something bigger than deficient. When that relaxes, that's super beautiful, so effortless. It is just, I'm marveling every single day at what arises without effort. Just creativity flows. Like, oh, okay. Oh, this. Oh, okay. And it's the opportunities where I haven't seen previously. It's like, because I haven't seen them, I was blinded by deficiency. I was blinded by repression. I was blinded by that fear to take on those opportunities. Now it seems like the opportunities are not there. They're not higher or lower, or they're just, life is speaking to itself. Yes, for sure. Yes, here. No, here, because I'm overstretching myself, because it's before it was yes, to the fact of like trying to please or trying to help because I want to be seen and validated. but not even charging for anything, just really stretching myself so thin. And it's just quite fascinating to learn how to boldly say yes and no, out of self-respect, out of really knowing yourself, out of really unrepressing yourself. And it's quite precious, really. And it's such a different place of relating too, because this is all about my excitement about this work. Like, hey, how can we be on this beautiful, beautiful, beautiful planet together in harmony? And it's really coming to our true selves. And it's really unrepressing ourselves. And therefore helping others to unrepress themselves too, so that we can all coexist in intimacy without being afraid of telling each other, hey, sorry, you crossed my boundary. I don't want to remove myself from the relationship. So how can we figure it out together, consciously, constructively? Right? And not just that, but so many other things are happening from this insatious need to this me, and all about me, and this unconscious unsafety of me creates wars, separation, and all of the insanity we see in the world. And that is the invitation, just to start work on ourselves. And it's quite contagious. See, I can't stop sharing it with others. Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, so I hope to see some of you. Any of you curious or interested maybe about the retreat? Anyone of you living in the US? Yeah. Anyone flying? Oh, cool, Cheska, that would be amazing. Oh, Olivier, oh my gosh, that would be amazing. Yay, Nicole. Okay, awesome. I'm excited. Yeah, that would be amazing, guys. Yeah, let's make it happen. Yeah, so thank you so much, everyone, for coming. And I will reach out in the email. And some of you, I see you weekly. So nice to see you. Hope to see you soon, whoever I haven't. And thank you for being here and giving me your time. And hopefully I planted a seed of where to look. Okay, thanks, Joanna and Dorota. Thank you, ladies. Yeah, so nice to see some new faces. Jenny, yeah. Cheska, Matthias, Olivier. Such a pleasure to see you. Everyone, thanks. Philip and Miles and Miriam, and Nicole. Thanks a lot. Yeah, where are you from, Dorota? I'm just curious because I haven't seen you. Are you in?
I'm from Poland.
Okay.
Yeah, and I joined Kilobi members area only 2 weeks ago, so I'm quite fresh, but I've been following your videos, practical videos. So
Okay.
it's very intense for me now with the emotions and everything. And I have a session booked with Natalia. She's also a facilitator from Poland, so I'm looking forward to it on Tuesday because I'm overwhelmed with what's going on inside me. And I just feel I need more tools to get deeper. I'm ready to go deeper, but I don't know how yet. But thanks for this meeting. I do appreciate it. I wish to go to New York, but not this time.
Yeah, I get it. Awesome. Well, so good. I mean, Natalia, you're in great hands, and if you can do it, you guys gonna do it in your own language, in Polish?
Yeah, we can do it.
Yeah. Oh, wow, that's amazing. Even extra bonus.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
But I'm just thinking, because this Kilobi inquiry for me is very intuitive. It's like, I watched your anger repression session and I made a few notes and then I went into it and I just didn't have to look at the notes because it was coming out, my child's voice, everything. And but I always get, I just feel I get to some, to a barrier. And but what was in our in a way overwhelming me is that my nervous system then is very agitated.
Yeah.
So that's why I also need some more tools, I guess, and for some facilitation to get. And I was also thinking about, you know, I'm so excited about it to become a facilitator, but then I decided first myself, and then I check, just like in clear, you know, being clear within me about my intentions, because my intention is freedom now. So that's the only thing. I want to make, you know, but I just, you know, I'm really excited about it.
That's wonderful.
That's the first thing.
Yeah, and I'm so glad you found it, because it's really like, as I'm saying, after years and years of looking in so many different places, like this is really what worked. And if we're really earnest, as you're saying, you're already intuitive about it and it's already moving stuff. So just being equipped with more tools, you'll be able to, even staying with intense emotions, there's a few tools that we can self-regulate ourselves. So it's going to be quite fascinating. So stay with it, stick with it. You know, it's inspiring.
Yeah. And hopefully see you next week. Oh no, I'm leaving on vacation, so I may not be
enjoy.
here.
Well, even better.
Yeah,
even
but
better.
we'll see each other for sure. Thanks a lot, Alina.
Thanks
Bye.
a lot. Hi, Philip.
Hi, Alina. Hi.
Yeah.
I just wanted to first of all say thank you for this wonderful session, and ask you if by any chance there will be another event like the one in Albany that you were talking about. Because I mean, I'm in Germany, but I'm actually coming to North America for 1 month. Unfortunately, 3
Not
days
the most.
after that weekend. And on that weekend, it's a good friend's marriage in. He's getting married in Munich, so I can't leave earlier. That's why. Otherwise, I would have loved to attend this. Yeah. So.
What we're trying to do, we're gonna just start earlier the booking. It's in winter to do one in Mexico, not there, but in winter to do just one event in Mexico, like a longer winter retreat, so to say, in warm place. There's so many beautiful places in Tulum, and the intention is like a 7-day retreat instead of 4 days only. So I'll keep you posted. You know.
Great. Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Bye bye. Thank
All right.
you.
Take good care. Bye.
You too.